Hi everyone, Mike White here, and welcome to this week's vlog post. The first week of July, we're approaching the July 4th holiday. Want to wish everybody a happy, healthy, and safe 4th of July celebration. I guess this year is going to be, very different from years past and things that we've been able to do. But again, we all find our way to go have some fun and celebrate and remember the independence that was staked out and declared, those many years ago. So, welcome to July, and there's a lot to be noted for July, and I wanted to bring to your attention three things in the month of July that you really, some you may be aware of, and others you may not, and I think that's part of the process, is so that you're not blindsided. And the first thing is we're dealing with the concept and the complaint about inventory of homes, available on the market. So that's one thing I want to discuss today. The second thing that I want to bring up is remember back in April during the virus, they moved tax filing requirements from April 15th to July 15th. So barring any changes in that, taxes and payments are due July 15th. We'll get into that a little more. And probably the least known and the least aware of is something that may have the greatest impact in our business for us anyway, is all the conversation that has recently been going on about the QM GSE, rules patch. Again, you remember with QM, there are rules. There was a patch installed to continue, and that expires in January. Well, recently there were more conversations about what to do and how to approach it. And so there's a lot of information going on about that I wanted to talk a little bit, at least address, because it is something you need to be aware of. There may be nothing happening today, but there are conversations that are taking place today, and that information, at least for deep background for yourself, so that you're not caught off guard. So the first piece of this is the challenge facing many of our markets, which is the available homes for purchase. The word inventory, however, comes to mind, but I urge you to really get clear and think about what the word means, because again, from the mortgage standpoint to the realtor standpoint to the customer standpoint, inventory has real relevance depending upon the term and how it's being used. Many, will cite homes that are available for sale based upon current listings in the market, and that's great if all homes were listed in the market in one spot, and we know that that's not true. Some will look at days on market and use that calculus to say, well, this house sold in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. And that's fine. That's a measure, but you really need to look deeper, because in my market, for instance, very few houses that come onto the market that are priced correctly or accurately last more than 30 to 60 days. So, and that's listed to, closed. If you just look at, listed to contract, I'm sure many of you will cite me cases where houses are coming onto the market on Friday, and we're having multiple offer situations over the weekend and deals that are consummated by contract on Monday or Tuesday. So when we look at this, we have to get really clear on what those terms are. And another thing that comes to mind right now that you have to be intensely aware of from a mortgage standpoint, and clearly sharing with your realtors, who are the realtors out there? Who are the internet movers of property? Not all of those properties will show up. You can go to various sites and you will find that not all houses can be found on all sites. Not all properties that are being offered for sale are showing up in all records, whether they be for sale by owners or whether they be internet vendors of some kind, those new realtors who are out there. they don't necessarily show up in some of the information. So you do have to be really cognizant of the fact that there is the general, well-regarded and understood internet out there who are showing quote unquote listed properties. There are your agents out there who are showing you listed properties, but it doesn't mean that that's a list of all available properties. And you need to at least become clear for yourself, along with your realtors, what percentage of available housing are falling into the different categories, because in some markets, for sale by owners and I listed properties maybe are 5 or 10 or 20% of the market. In other places, it could be 20, 30, 40% of the market. You don't know if you don't tally the numbers. So it is important to know the numbers, and it is significant that you know this information and share it with your better realtors so they can help you navigate, because again, even every MLS in the country is not treated the same way or has the same information. So be aware of that. We've talked a lot about, inventory and the things to do and the strategies to come with that. You can find all of those on the website, or you can shoot me an email. The second item that I touched on was the tax filing on July 15th. And as of today, July the 2nd, it is still due that the taxes are due and payments are due on July 15th. It's really important that you pay attention to this number and also attention to certain information. Again, some of you may be in situations with certain types of borrowers who are requiring tax returns or understanding that information. And some of your people may be filing their taxes just as normal, but it's really important based upon some things that I have come across recently, which is be sure that if your people are filing tax returns between now and July 15th, that you get, or anybody that comes to you that you may require tax returns for their loan application, and it may require those 2019 filings, and you're going to look for transcripts on those, or people that you may have very well taken in now who said they filed a month ago or 2 months ago. Here's something you need to pay attention to, is that due to COVID-19, the number of people who are working in the processing centers and the hours that they're working and the amount of material that they can handle is not what it once was. And here are the challenges. You may be sent, for those people who send in paper tax returns along with a check, those documents are being sent in and may not be processed as quickly as you would think. Some of those submissions could be sitting quite some time before somebody gets them. Now, the IRS has received them, and those people are not going to be penalized for not having sent in because they were received and dated that they were received, but the paperwork may not have been processed. Think about that. If there is no record in the system of them having received it yet, then it's not likely you're going to be able to get a tax transcript for it if necessary. Your customer may have sent a paper check, which may not have been processed yet and may be sitting there. So you may see bank statements with all kinds of money in it that will not be there by the time you close, because that part of that money in that bank account was to cover the check that they wrote to pay their taxes. So the heads up is make sure you're speaking to your accountants and your financial planners and your clients to make sure that they have, if they have filed already, check to make sure that they filed electronically, paid electronically, and if they didn't by paper, see if they will go on to their own portal in the IRS to make sure that the IRS is acknowledging that it received them. That's number one. Number two, if they haven't filed yet, make sure they file and pay electronically. At least the receipt will be there, the money will be out of the bank, it will be done quickly, and you won't run into a problem. Again, it's one of these things, where are you going to go to get help? You may not be able to go to your local IRS office. There may not be anybody who answers the phone. And oh, by the way, between now and July 15th, they may change the rules about filing, and all of this will be a moot point. But I need you to be aware of it. Last but not least, again, was the thing that we talked about was the QM patch and the expiration. And again, this is one of those things that when rumors come out, when people start talking, and I saw it happen, I guess the middle to end of last week, where people were running with the ball that they had heard or saw a source or somebody said that they saw in Congress that they were going to eliminate one of the resolutions to the QM patch was eliminating ratios. And other people were talking about, will they get rid of prepayment penalties, short term, maybe a 6-month or a 1-year prepayment penalty. All of these things are getting bandied around because that's what happens in these circumstances. Is sometimes these things are leaked specifically to see what people's reactions are. Sometimes these things are leaked because somebody doesn't like what they're hearing or seeing and wants the public to, or at least the private sector, to rebel against an idea that they may not like. Throw into that all the different things that are happening with the end of this month, whether it be unemployment, bonus, the stipend of $600, or forbearance, or any of these other things. And you can see how quickly that stuff can change our markets. So you do need to be paying attention. You do need to be looking at these things and understand that you cannot be blindsided. You need to be sure that you're checking in with sources, at least occasionally each week, to keep yourself posted on what's going on and how it's affecting your particular market. Because if you're not staying on top of your market, you're going to get blindsided by a question, which is one of the worst things that can happen. The other situation is your awareness of what's going on in the market can help you take preemptive steps so that you don't run into trouble, or you can take care of an issue early in the process. And let's hopeful at pre-approval before they ever go into contract, so that you don't run into an issue. As always, if you have any questions or comments, you can reach out to me at mike@imtcoaching.com, and we'll talk to you again next week. Take care.